Let's do it. All right. So here we are, another edition of the Newport This Week video podcast. I'm Bill Bartholomew. A pleasure to spend time with all of you. And remember, you can find each episode at newportthisweek.com or on the Newport This Week YouTube channel. We're joined by Bari Freeman of Bike Newport for a conversation on a really exciting program, the Rogers Ciclistas. And
Ciclistas, yes, Ciclistas.
Ciclistas. So there you go. My pronunciation already way off track, and I'm glad you're here to correct me. So thank you so much.
It wasn't that far off, and it's a great word, Ciclistas. So
It
yeah,
is.
it's a wonderful program.
So there's a great piece in this week's paper that describes really just an overview of what the program is. It's a pilot program that was launched last week that gives a cohort of Spanish-dominant high school students in Newport what they need to know about bicycle safety. The program includes giving students a fully restored bike, lessons on bike safety, and practice routes in the Newport traffic green, which is in Minatomi Park, and on the road. Actually, the traffic green inside the park itself? I'm looking at another article, and it looks like it's adjacent to the park.
It is. It's a traffic garden, and which is a term that's used to describe these miniature streetscapes that have popped up all over the world with great success, educationally and recreationally. And it's on the north side, the north end of the park on Hillside Avenue. So it's between what had been the Maha Center and where Newport Housing Authority has its offices and the park itself. It's actually is park property. It's surrounded by a fence and had been a parking lot.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about the program and where the idea came from. It's obviously a really wonderful initiative. What sparked the idea, and how did you implement it?
Yeah, it's a really exciting answer, because it was a few students who approached their teacher last spring. 3 young women approached their teacher and said, look, we really need a better way to get to school, because when we miss the bus, we don't have any way to get there. And we also have to get to work after school and on weekends. And, is there any way that we can get bikes? And so her teacher approached Bike Newport, because that's what we do. We connect people with bicycles, we collect bikes, restore them, distribute them in the community. And so, this is something that's right up our alley. But when we heard about these 3 students and, started working to getting them bikes, we said, well, there must be more students, can you check in and see, if others need? And she came back and said, well, there are 30 students who, raised their hands and said this would be helpful. So we started working towards the funding that was needed, the staffing that was needed, the curriculum that was needed. We have Spanish-speaking staff all the time, but to run a program for 30 students, and get them bikes and get them the education and figure out routes, the best routes for them to school and to work, and, plan it out as a comprehensive program, took some work. And we worked through the summer, and we got the support of the Rhode Island Foundation, Newport County Fund, and Powered by Prince to help us make it possible. And we partnered deeply with the school district and with the teachers who are part of the English Language Learners Program. And last week we launched, and it is, as you said, all of the equipment that's needed. So it's not just the bikes, it's the locks and the lights and the reflective vests and the helmets and the bells, and the lessons about how to take care of the bike, how to keep it secure, and how to, manage maintenance and small repairs like fixing flats. And then there's the bike skills. How do you ride on the road? We have to ride on the road with cars, and this is a new country. Most of these kids are recent immigrants. This is a new home to them. How do we ride here? Where is everything located? What's the best route to get there? So there's this whole other, not just informational, but social aspect of, making friends. Some of the kids who've been in the program for several years joined the program, and now are the translators together with the educators, so that the one-on-ones can happen simultaneously with lots of people, having the language that's needed. And like the icing on the whole cupcake is that there's this cultural awareness and socializing that's dual. It's like a dual language program. We have kids who don't speak Spanish and teachers who don't speak that level of Spanish at Bike Newport who are learning about bikes and biking and South American culture in Spanish from the students, and the students are learning from each other. So there's just this, this whole context of cultural appropriateness and culture sharing that's taking place at the same time. These kids are learning Newport. Where are they going on the bikes? We're going to the beach. We're not just going to work and school. We're riding around the city. We're finding places that kids didn't even know, were here yet. So it's just a very robust kind of goosebumpy happiness that we're just really thrilled about.
Yeah, it's an amazing program, and I love the image that's on the cover of this week's paper that sort of just shows, hey, it's in action. A lot of times ideas take a long time to implement, and here this thing, the idea came up, it seems like, with the partnerships and just your ingenuity, you're able to make it happen, and now sort of super serve the community as a whole, but particularly this one population that has, like you said, so many specific challenges and so much to add to the community that sometimes isn't fully embraced.
Yeah, that picture, which is behind you, that's the traffic garden. And by the way, it's open all the time. It's there 24/7, 365, and it's a public space. It's a beautiful gift to the community. Anybody can go there and ride on it, bring your kids, ride on it. It has crosswalks and lanes and stop signs and yield signs and even a roundabout in the middle of it. So it's a wonderful place to go and kind of build your confidence and your skills around biking away from traffic.
We had a very unfortunate incident a couple of weeks ago where there was a fatal bike accident, and Kayla Watson, 34-year-old resident of Middletown, was involved in a collision. We're in a situation where, as we start to think of multimodal transportation, we have to also think about safety in a whole new way. And it's obviously on everyone's radar to a certain extent, but it really needs to be in the forefront. With that on background, how important is it from the safety piece to educate from a young age, not only the cyclists from their perspective, but also extrapolating this out to everybody? Hey, there's a lot of people now. We've got a lot of kids who are more kids who are going to be on the road with their bikes. How important is it that people are aware of sharing the road and doing so in an appropriate way?
Well, you just said it all. You said it beautifully. It's bicyclists and pedestrians and motorists. We're all the same people. We need to be thoughtful, patient, aware. The intersection where Kayla lost her life has been on the radar screen for a long time. The city council acted very quickly through a resolution to turn to RIDOT. Yesterday, RIDOT responded, and the city's requests are, they're moving forward with the city's requests on this state road. There are additional requests that are being made that will all be moving forward on as well. So it's very much about safety being, a top priority and top of mind. And a lot of that is about patience and courtesy. There's infrastructure, there's equipment, there's absolutely education. I mean, there's no question. We're talking about an education program. We also have programs in place at Pell and Thompson. Every third grader, every fifth grader now gets bike safety education in school. And we're looking to expand that, keep expanding to more and more grades. We have after school programs. They're just any place where we can touch people and recognize that, in this example, people coming from other countries, the rules there of how you ride, the practices are different. We have to make sure that we're touching everyone. Anybody who comes to the bike garage here at Bike Newport to work on their bikes in the community bike garage, they all get information about, what the agreements are on the road here. And while we're helping people to understand how to be safe on the road, whether they're bicyclists, pedestrians, or motorists, we're also working towards separated infrastructure, because we want this city to be a multimodal city. We have to think about the distribution of road share, the distribution of the mode share. Traffic congestion is reduced when more people feel safe biking and walking. It's all part of a big puzzle. There's a lot of, interconnectedness in all of these discussions, and we have to think in those terms.
Couldn't agree more. Bari Freeman, executive director at Bike Newport, always doing amazing work for our community and always looking, on the cutting edge and implementing, which is so nice, because so much of the cutting edge conversation, or the sort of futurism that gets thrown out there in meetings or in conversations or whatever, doesn't even come close to getting implemented. And you've consistently implemented this stuff, and your organization has done amazing work for the community. So thank you.
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, you have to stick with it and be collaborative.
Yes.